up, y'all? It's Nick here, back with another I almost said rebuild, but I'm back with another video. Today we'll be doing a 2021 mock draft. Just the lottery for right now. I probably will do like a part two like later. But before we start the mock draft, I want to ask you guys to leave a like on the video, subscribe to this channel, and I know I've been pushing y'all to subscribe to my NBA channel, but I think that channel dead. I might just keep everything here. I don't want to have to work backwards and then get here. So I'm gonna just keep everything on here. So now that we got that out of the way, welcome to the video. So the 2021 NBA draft, most people think that it's top heavy, talent wise, like superstar potential wise. I can agree, but to some extent, I think that's incorrect because of course you have the Cade Cunningham, the Jalen Green, the Evan, and then there's a slight drop off to Suggs, Barnes, and Kuminga. But there is a lot of potentially great role players in this draft. There are players that do certain things great. They're not well rounded, but they have a certain skill set that's great. And when you look at the construction of the good NBA teams, they have a star or two, unless you're the Nets when you have three. And then the rest of the roster, other than the star players, are all role players that play their role to a T, and that's super important in any team that's in the playoffs, going for a championship, anything. You look at the Suns, you have Jay Crowder, Mikal Bridges, you have Campaign, and then on the Bucks you have Bobby Portis. His role is to come in and score the ball. That's what we need you to do. That's all we need you to do. Pat Connaughton, 3 and D. Brook Lopez was just a 3 and D until Giannis got injured, and then he turned the clock back to his Brooklyn days in the post. But what I'm saying is every team needs role players, and I feel like this draft gives a lot of teams opportunities to get solid young role players with potential. But no role player will be selected with the number one overall pick. And in this draft, I feel like it's a no-brainer. The Detroit Pistons select Cade Cunningham out of Oklahoma State. They did pick Killian Hayes last year, but he hasn't shown. I know he's still young. He's only a rookie going into his sophomore year, but you can't pass up on a transcendent talent like Cade. What I would do is I would draft Cade. He is 6'8". He can play the 1, 2, or the 3. See if him and Killian can play together. If they can, that's a win situation. If they can't, you take Cade and you trade Killian. I mean, excuse me. It's unfortunate that you drafted a person at Cade's position, but Cade is just that guy, man. I can't stress it enough. He's gonna bring a lot of excitement to the fan base of Detroit, who haven't had a lot of success since they won the championship, I think in '04, with Chauncey, Rip, Tayshaun, Ben Watson, them. So yeah, with the number one overall pick, they're gonna pick Cade. I hope they pick Cade. They do need a shooting guard, which would be Jalen Green, but I feel like when you have a player of this caliber, you can't pick on position. You have to pick the best player available. Kind of like, well, I'm not comparing Cade to Jordan and Killian to Clyde, but the Trailblazers had Jordan on the clock right there. But of course, Jordan played the same position as Clyde, so they're not going to pick Jordan. But I'm pretty sure if they had a redo, they would have seen how it would work for Jordan and Clyde. But with that being said, we're going to number two. Now, this number two pick can either go one of two ways. They can either pick Green or Evan Mobley out of USC. I'm going Evan. Jalen Green will put people in the seats, which is very important. He's flashy. He has potential to be a 25-point per game scorer. He's athletic. He's all of that. But to me, Evan Mobley is the second best player in this draft out of USC. He's a big man like Christian Wood, that they're agile, they can defend in space, they can shoot, they can block shots. I feel like that front court with Jayshawn Tate, whoever they can add at that small forward to. Then you have Wood and Evan, then probably John Wall and Kevin Porter. That's a good lineup. It's gonna take time. Everything that Houston does is gonna take time now. They went from being a contender in the Western Conference like 2 years ago, going up against the Warriors, taking them to 7 games, almost getting to the finals. But just James Harden axes out, you get Russell out of there. Things change quick. But Evan Mobley is a good start to restart your franchise. Cavaliers at 3. Pick number 2 will 100% determine which way the Cavs go. So with the third overall pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Jalen Green. A part of me wanted to go Kuminga or Scotty Barnes here, but there have been trade rumors about Colin Sexton actually being traded away from the Cleveland Cavaliers. And if that is true to any extent, and they do trade Colin, you bring in Green to be your shooting guard of the future. You have Garland, who is primarily a one, which you drafted Colin to be, but then you realize that Colin Sexton is just a flat out scorer. And you tried that small guard combo, Sexland. You tried it. It's cool, but I feel like Garland and Green complement each other better just because Jalen Green is 6'6". He has the tools to be a great defender. He has the athletic tools. He has high IQ. He should be a good defender, but he'll make his calling card on the offensive side from day one. So, yeah, that's it for the Cavaliers. With the fourth overall pick, the winners of the draft lottery, the Toronto Raptors, select Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga. Guard, can shoot it, very, very athletic, court awareness, passing vision. He is an all around guard. He can play the one or the two, which I think he'll go well with Fred Van Vliet there, and Trent, Gary Trent Jr. there in Toronto. He's about 6'4". There's a lot of comparisons thrown at him, but I don't think there's like a guy that you can pinpoint to compare him, because some people say his athleticism is like Russell, but I don't think he's that athletic. He's not that strong. He might get there, but I also think his perimeter game will be miles better than Russell's is. So, but I just think this Toronto team, if he plays like great at a rookie of the year type level, they can get back in the playoffs easily, because the core of Siakam, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent, Fred, uh, Chris Boucher, and Suggs, like that team was in the playoffs 2 years ago. They don't have Serge and Gasol, but Chris Boucher is a good center. So this Toronto Raptors team, they have a great coach too. So I feel like if Suggs plays great, they can be right back in the playoffs. So the fifth overall pick, the Orlando Magic, will select Jonathan Kuminga from the G League Ignite team. To me, this pick is a tug of war between Kuminga and Scotty Barnes from Florida State. Um, they're both guys who will come in day one and be athletic and will hang their hats on the defensive end. And while I think that they both will be great defenders from day one, I feel like the Magic pick Kuminga strictly off his offensive potential. His offensive potential is higher than Scotty Barnes's, and I feel like with 5 and 8, they have a chance to really build something there. And a defensive front court of Kuminga, John Isaac, and Mo Bamba with all that length, all that athleticism, that's something I can get with. And I also, with the same thing as 2 and 3, the number fifth pick will 100% determine the sixth pick. So with the sixth pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder will select Scotty Barnes. Again, I talked about him, but the difference between Scotty Barnes and Kuminga, aside from defense, Scotty Barnes is a pure point forward. Dare I say this, I'm not comparing him to him, but it was some clips when I watched Scotty Barnes. He was damn near looking like Magic Johnson. The way he posting up, he got very long arms. He's 6'9". He's just running all over the court. He's passing, making flashy passes. He's dunking in transition. Scotty Barnes is a day one impact player. Now, shooting, of course, is probably the most important thing in 2021 in the NBA. Scotty Barnes does not have that. He can hit shots, but again, I'm pretty sure he shot like 27% from three in college or even lower, but he cannot shoot as of right now. And I feel like Scotty Barnes is one of those intense guys. He's very intense, and I feel like he's a hard worker. So I feel like he'll improve on that, but his defense and playmaking and just his pure energy from day one will get him some time. So great pick for the Oklahoma City Thunder. The seventh overall pick, a team in a great position. The Golden State Warriors will select Moses and Moody. Of course, if they don't trade, they've been rumored to trade 7 and 14 with a couple with Andrew Wiggins or James Wiseman. But if they select here, Moses Moody out of Arkansas is the pick. Again, this is a role player. This is a guy who's going to play a role. He's going to 3-and-D. He's one of the best shooters in his draft and one of the best perimeter defenders in his draft. The Warriors don't need a superstar here. And they're probably not even going to pick this pick. So, but if they do, you have Moses Moody, who's not going to take shots away from Curry or Clay. You have a guy that's going to catch and shoot effectively, and he's going to be running around taking defensive responsibilities off of Stephen Curry. He's going to come in. They're going to get him into that culture of winning, strictly winning. And they're going to teach him well. He's going to be learning from Curry and Klay Thompson. Then on the defensive end, he's going to be learning from Draymond Green. You have a great coach in Kerr, great organization, great everything. I think this is a perfect marriage right here. So with the 8th overall pick, the Orlando Magic select James Bouknight out of UConn. The Magic, well, before I get into that, I was kind of in between him and Keon Johnson from Tennessee, but the Magic desperately need perimeter scoring. Markelle Fultz is an attacker. He can't score, but he's attacking the paint. You have John Isaac, who hangs hat on the defensive side of the ball. He's improving his three-point shot, but it's not there yet. And even that, he's not creating. Mo Bamba can't shoot again, but he's going to be in the paint. Most of the time, their best perimeter scorer is Terrence Ross. He's a flat-out scorer, but he is a veteran. This is a team going on a youth movement, so he probably won't be there by the end of the season. He'll probably get traded by the trade deadline. So James will come in, and I think at UConn, it was a one-man offense. He was their leading scorer by far. He had a little bit of help, but he was that top dog, and that's why he's going to get picked here, probably in the top 10. And I think his shooting splits are not true. I feel like his splits were down in college, especially because he was a college kid that was the number one option taking most of the shots. So I feel like he shoots better than his splits say, and he will be more efficient and effective in the NBA because he has other people around that can score just as good or if not better than him. So 8, James Bouknight from UConn. The 9th overall pick, the Sacramento Kings select Jalen Johnson out of Duke. This one's very tricky here because the Kings don't have the greatest track record in terms of drafting. They never get like the number 1, the number 2 pick. They always get like in that 6 to 9, 10 range, 11. So I know it's kind of hard to pick a great talent, but they've only hit on 2. They have De'Aaron Fox, who's their best player. Then they had Tyrese Halliburton, who fell into their lap. They got blessed with him. So that was a no-brainer. But Bagley still has time, but he hasn't shown anything in his... He's shown flashes, but he just can't stay on the court. I was very high on Harry Giles, but he had 2 knee surgeries even before he even got a chance to show what he was. Now he's with the Trailblazers. But Jalen Johnson here is a guy I feel like can fit very well with Fox and Halliburton. I was going to go Corey Kispert here, but I feel like Jalen Johnson has more offensive potential, even though Corey Kispert has a skill set right now that will translate. He can shoot the pill off. He has size, but Jalen Johnson is a point forward. He's a little bit shorter than Scotty Barnes, but I feel like they can play the same way. He's not a defender that Scotty is, but he can defend. He has a tall frame. He's strong, and his potential offense. Again, he's one of those guys that is not a great shooter, but he does everything else on the court. To me, he is kind of like Ben Simmons, even though he can shoot a little bit better. Like he can shoot, but it's kind of like Scotty Barnes, where he's gonna have to improve if he's gonna be if he's gonna maximize his effectiveness on the court. But Jalen Johnson at 9 to the Sacramento Kings. With the 10th overall pick, the New Orleans Pelicans select Corey Kispert out of Gonzaga. I really shouldn't have to explain this. Shooting, shooting, shooting. The Pelicans have done a horrible job constructing their team around Zion and Ingram. And when you have a transcendent talent like Zion that is limited on the perimeter, I know it's easier said than done, but you have one job: put shooting around them. You are about to lose Lonzo, who is a perfect fit for Zion. He playmakes, he can shoot. He's a much improved catch and shoot 3-point shooter. And you're about to lose him. So you're probably going to have Kyra Lewis step up, who is cool. I like Kyra Lewis. But then you trade Drew Holiday, who probably would have helped you make the playoffs this year. You trade him for Eric Bledsoe, who can't shoot to save his life. Then, even though Steven Adams is a good player, he doesn't fit next to Zion. It's just two guys going in the paint. One goes in, one comes out. One goes in, one goes out. And they just need shooting. Even though I think Kyra is cool, so it's not that big of a deal. I felt they should have gone with shooting last year. Aaron Neesmith was on the board. I don't know how I felt about them going there, but I'm glad I'm glad he's on our team. But there was a game I was watching. It was the Pelicans and the Cavaliers. It was probably like towards the end of the year. Towards the end of the year, Zion started running point guard. That shit was basically unstoppable. But it was a game against the Cavaliers where it was the fourth quarter, and Zion took one dribble inside of the 3-point line, and three Cavs converged on him. I think Eric Bledsoe was on the court, Najee Marshall, guys like that, right? Najee had a good game, but so then they started sending triple teams on Zion, and they're leaving Eric Bledsoe wide open. The first play they triple team him is Zion, so he scored. Then the next two times, Eric Bledsoe missed both threes. They sent it again. Eric Bledsoe had a wide open shot. He tried to drive in because he didn't trust his shot and he turned it over. So, like Eric is a solid guy, a solid player, but the way they need to construct that team is put shooting around him. Corey Kispert is a shooter, probably the best shooter in this draft, and he has size. So he should be able to defend one or two positions. So 10th pick, Corey Kispert to the Pelicans. With the 11th overall pick, the Charlotte Hornets select Kai Jones, power forward center out of Texas. Kai Jones, I really like Kai Jones. He's one of those role players. And for a team like the Hornets who got a transcendent talent again in LaMelo Ball, they have Miles Bridges, they have PJ Washington. They don't really have a center. PJ's cool, but he's not the center. He's smaller and he's not long enough really to play center. So Kai Jones is 6'11". He has a long wingspan, and he's a former track star. He's a guy that's going to rim run. Him playing with LaMelo is going to be crazy to watch. He's already out there just throwing lots of Miles Bridges left and right, throwing everybody flashy passes. But then Kai Jones is going to be rim running hard as hell. Then he's going to be blocking shots. He's a guy that the Hornets need, and a center you want next to LaMelo. Guys going to set picks, rim run, block shots, dunk, and he has stretch ability too. That's the factor that can turn this pick from a great pick. From a good pick to a great pick. If Kai Jones can consistently hit that three that he's shown in flashes at Texas, this is going to be he mess around with be the center of the future. We have Cody Zeller there, who's getting older. Bismack Biyombo is the same thing. So Kai Jones, Texas, to the Charlotte Hornets. With the 12th overall pick, the San Antonio Spurs select Franz Wagner out of Michigan. He's a 6'9" combo wing, a very skilled player. He just basically seems like a San Antonio Spurs pick. He's a guy that will be able to shoot. He does a lot of things well. He can shoot the ball. He can defend. He can pass. His playmaking is underrated. His court awareness, basketball IQ. He's a Spurs player. He's fundamentally sound. And I think the Spurs are in this weird position where they have kind of pieces to be in the middle of the pack in the Western Conference, probably get into a play-in tournament, but they also have pieces to build for the future in DeJounte, Keldon Johnson, Lonnie Walker, and Devin Vassell, who they drafted last year. But I would rather restart than to be in the middle of the pack, sort of like where the Pacers are, who are picking next. I just think they should restart. DeMar's leaving. LaMarcus is gone. So Franz Wagner is a good pick to pair with those young guys. The 13th pick, the Indiana Pacers select Davion Mitchell out of Baylor, a championship winning guard, a great shifty defender. He's I can't stress enough how shifty this man is. He has handles. He can slash. His shooting needs to improve, but I feel like he'll get there. Um, I know this is kind of low. A lot of like mock drafts have him as high as 7 to the Warriors. I just don't think the Warriors need that type of guard, and he is smaller, but he is very similar to Donovan. I don't think he's gonna be as good of a scorer as Donovan is, and will continue to become. But Davion is a solid guard. He's small, but he's solid. He's strong. He's laterally quick as hell. He can defend. He will be in the passing lanes. He has great hands. I feel like Indiana Pacers are again with the Spurs are now basically the East. They have Sabonis. The Spurs have DeRozan, guys that are on the cusp of all star teams that can help your team be in a play-in tournament. But I would rather rebuild than to be stuck in the middle for years to come. So the Pacers, they have the guard position. They already tried to trade Brogdon already. So I feel like if it's not to the 76ers, they might trade Brogdon if they find something right. So Davion can come in and start, or he can build his way up to that starting position. But Davion Mitchell, 13 to the Pacers. So with the last pick in the lottery, Golden State Warriors, 14th overall pick, select Isaiah Jackson out of Kentucky. He has a lot of Mitchell Robinson in him. I think he's just like Kai Jones, but without the three-point shot. He's going to set picks on and off ball for Curry and Clay. He's going to rim run. He's going to catch lobs, and he's going to defend a basket. Again, like I said with 7, the Warriors need role players that have potential. And before I say anything else, I think if they don't trade 7, I fully expect them to trade this pick, number 14. But just for the sake of video, I give you Isaiah Jackson. And he's the type of center that the Warriors need. A guy that's not going to do anything extra. And I feel like that's why they need to trade James Wiseman. Or I feel like James will benefit from a trade. James Wiseman has the skill set of a unicorn. He wants to grab the ball off the rebound. He wants to go coast to coast. He wants to dribble on the perimeter. He wants to shoot threes. He wants to do all of that. But none of the Warriors centers from their dynasty times, none of them have been able to do what James Wiseman can do. And I feel like he will be in the shackles of what the Warriors need with an aging Curry, an aging Clay, aging Draymond. I don't feel like they have the time to go through the growing pains of a Wiseman trying to do unicorn type shit. You look at the centers that the Warriors had when they were winning games. JaVale McGee. Isaiah Jackson, that's JaVale McGee. They're athletic, catching lobs, playing defense, setting picks. Carly Stein, same thing. Kevon Looney's the same thing. He's just not as athletic as those guys. So, but that is the end of my 2021 NBA lottery mock draft. Part 2 might be coming out soon if you guys ask for it. So I'll probably get on that pretty soon. But thank you guys for watching again. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe to this channel. And just keep supporting the channel. No Nick NBA. We straight on here. And thank you guys for watching. I'll be back soon.